We are actually in a contest in this country on July the 4th between a party everybody hates and a party about which nobody knows anything at all, which campaigns not on policies, which it reveals, but on wet, soppy slogans about compassion and about how, gosh, you're in trouble with your mortgage, we can solve that. But you know absolutely nothing about this party at all. And I know a little bit because I've done some work on it, and I can tell you that from its own point of view, it's almost certainly going to be the most left-wing government this country has ever had. And it is led by a man whose past is so extraordinarily left-wing and so peculiar that when I tell people what it was and is, they won't believe me. But the reason why they don't tell you what they're going to do is because they know that if they told you what they were going to do, you wouldn't vote for them. Now, there's then the other question, which is the question of, if I hate the Tory party so much, why don't I wish to see it crash and burn on this occasion, having campaigned since 2003, as I have, for its destruction, having poured over its head so many gallons of slime and hatred? Why is it that I don't now want you all to rush off and vote for Nigel Farage's Reform UK? It's because I'm not a child. It's because I understand, as everybody in this country ought to understand, and millions of people currently don't, that a vote is not an emotional spasm, nor is it a sacrament. It's not even a civic duty. It's a measurable, simple act with a measurable result. If people vote for reform in large numbers, their votes will aid the victory of a Labour Party led by a man who is, as I say, the most left-wing person to put himself forward to enter Downing Street in the history of this country, who won't tell you what he's going to do. Very occasionally, it slips. The extraordinary moment when he said that he would not, even if one of his relatives was stuck in an NHS queue waiting for treatment, he would not go private. He meant it. This is a hugely dogmatic person. This is someone who said, when eventually asked a serious question by an interviewer, actually said, yes, when I say working people, when he said that those are the people who he won't sting with heavy taxes. When I say working people, I mean people with no savings. That is to say, anybody with savings can absolutely be guaranteed to be stung by very heavy taxation by this Labour government. These are things we know. The other things we know are about the constitutional changes, which are set out by Gordon Brown and announced at a meeting with Gordon Brown and Keir Starmer in December 2022. Which would effectively make it impossible for any future government, Reform, Tories, Lib Dems, anyone you care to name, impossible for them to reverse the changes which Labour proposed to make, which will be the completion, in my view, of the constitutional, economic, cultural, social and moral revolutions begun and unfinished by the Blair government between 1997 and 2010. Let me just warn you, in 1997, I had almost no platform. I had no access to anti-social media. I sat there and I looked, knowing what I knew from friends of mine who were Blairites and knowing what I knew about Anthony Charles Linton Blair, that a 1997 Labour victory would mean a transformation in this country for the worse, from which it would never fully recover. I could say and do nothing. Whatever I do now, what I know is this: I do not propose to wake up on the morning of July the 5th. If everybody else in the country is foolish enough to ignore what I say and put in power this disastrous Labour government, which everybody seems to be rushing to do, I cannot be accused of not having done every ounce of work that I could possibly do in trying to persuade people to avoid this disastrous national, political and social mistake. Thank you.